Welcome to JackHorny.com show.
Hi folks, a new service app or whatever you want to call it's going to come out. I came across it in the news and I thought it was quite interesting. It's called Quibi. Now, you might have not heard of it because, well, I'm in the UK and quite honestly, it was only a slight article in the news that I came across it, so the publicity has been next to nothing in the UK. So I don't know how it's been in other countries. Admittedly, it's not going to launch in the UK to begin with. It's apparently going to launch in America. And apparently they've raised £1 billion for content. Now, unlike Netflix, it's not going to be on your TV, which I think is going to be a bit of a disaster for them. And they're wanting, apparently, I think that on the BBC website, they're stating they're going to charge $4.99 for basic, and that's with adverts, or $7.99. They both in dollars, by the way. $7.99 for ad-free and $4.99 with the adverts. The difference also is that the shows are going to be 10 minutes or shorter. The boast is they've got a few big names, but quite honestly, I think the problem they're going to have is because it's only web-based, I mean, it's only mobile-based, I think that's going to put people off. Although a lot of people use their mobile phones, I think they still like to sit in front of a TV from time to time. And I think that's the advantage of Netflix. You can see it on more than one device. I'm also not sure that 10 minutes is going to be really that pleasant to watch. Some things are fun on 10 minutes, but it's going to be interesting. I think that might also be a bit of a disaster for them. Basically, it's a phone app, and I suspect that it won't work in the end. Well, it won't work. I think what will happen is, and I'm going to predict this, it'll either collapse because they'll burn through this 1 billion in content and they won't get enough followers. I mean, you'd need a lot of people to cover the money. I mean, the advertisements might cover some, but it depends how many viewers they get. Now, I suspect what they'll do is they'll do it free with adverts, and then you can upgrade it to ad-free. I suspect they'll do that in the end. I mean, if I was them, I'd do that to begin with. I also suspect that if they had any sense, they'd do it on TV and do shows longer than 10 minutes. It sounds nice. What they're saying is, and I think the novelty will wear off within 2 minutes, is that they have it so you can. It's being filmed in your sort of standard view, that sort of long ways that your widescreen TV is on. But then you can flip your phone and it'll automatically adjust to, that portrait. Is it portrait mode? And the idea is you could sort of do different angles. The presentation, I think, was that. I think it was for an advert where you can have it long ways and you're watching the person in the house walking around, but then you flip it over and you can see the view from the security camera. Yeah, it might be alright. I'm not sure how. I think it could just be a gimmick that'll be tiresome within minutes. I mean, to me that just sounds as dull as dishwater, but you never know. Maybe they will produce something fascinating with it. Now, they do have a few stars on board, but I mean, when you're paying out £1 billion, you can attract anybody for £1 billion. The interesting bit is that it looks like one of the major investors is Disney, and considering they've got their own online platform coming, well, it's out now in America. They might see some benefit. Perhaps they'll put some Disney stuff on this, but I've got a feeling they're going to struggle to get enough people to do it when it's, You see, the problem is they're doing it. They're charging people even for the advert version, and when you've got an app like this to build up people and viewers, you really need to give it away free with adverts, because then you'll have people retweeting shows, and that's the advantage. If you did it both on the website, so people can, you need people retweeting and talking about the shows. I mean, basically, and to me, this is just a glorified YouTube channel or a TikTok channel or one of the others. And they've sort of built up their own traffic because people it's word of mouth. If you hide the content, will people want to join when they don't know what they're joining? I mean, I think they've invested mainly on the content, and I think they're going to have problems unless people get to hear about it. Because when I went on YouTube to see what the reviews were, the channels that were talking about the app, were getting like 300 or 400 views. So it doesn't seem to be a major something people are looking up, which is going to be another problem for them. But I could see this just being they'll end up dumping the content on something like YouTube in the end when nobody's watching it, because they'll need to make some money back. I mean, you also have it seems to be. I think they're thinking this is going to be simpler than it is. I don't know if it'll get traction. I think they're believing that lots of young kids will sign up to it, and the trouble is, people on mobile phones, I don't think sign up as easily as say on a website. It's a bit fiddly, so and quite honestly, would you really want to pay $4 or $5? Well, that's about £4 or something UK pounds to something I'm not sure I'd want to watch a lot. It depends what content they've got on there. You see, the thing about Netflix is they were first one in, and they've got a ton of content. And I think they've got programs that you'd want to watch. The new one in America, which is the Disney one, I think it's called Disney Plus. I wanted to join it in the UK because of that the new Star Wars series, and I couldn't. That people probably join just for that series alone. I mean, I wouldn't join for the films, Star Wars films, because quite honestly, the recent ones are just I just can't even be bothered watching them. And I'm one of the biggest Star Wars fans going, but these just look bland. But that series alone would have me join up. I mean, like I said, I did try and join up just to watch it. I mean, if it comes to the UK soon, I'd probably join up literally just for that series. But and that's the only reason I joined the. I don't think that there's anything else on there. There might be. It might be worth looking around because I like the old-fashioned Disney films. When Walt Disney was around and he was basically in charge, those are the quality ones for me. Things after Walt Disney died, they've never been. I'm not. They don't feel like the Disney. They don't excite me. The modern Disney films, except for the Pirate of the Caribbean, that I quite enjoy them. I mean, there's a few, but they still don't have the quality that to me that Walt Disney put in. Because basically Walt Disney went completely OTT, and he could have got away with lower quality films, but he just wanted them beyond perfect. I mean, that was I think I've always been a fan of Walt Disney. So let's. It'll be interesting when this site launches, but it does seem to be the publicity. It seems to be this old chap and this slightly. I wouldn't say she's a young woman. Just doing press interviews, and it's not the most exciting thing going. I mean, they've shown demos, I think, but I think it's going to be down to the content. A lot of these things are, but I've got a feeling that asking people to pay for something that's going to have adverts on, it is a bit of a cheek, and I think they'll end up. You see, once you get to the $7, $8, $9, $10 mark, you might as well just go for Netflix. You're getting close to that, and also the way they're saying they're putting it out, I'm not sure. It's a bit confusing because they're on about doing between 7 and 7 or something, and there'll be X amount of content a day. So I don't know if it's like Netflix where you can choose a whole catalogue, or you've got to watch what they put out. So it could be a bit like a TV station, except you can decide what order to watch programs that are in. Because I think they're going to put out news and stuff. But again, it's free on other sites. It's going to be interesting if they can do something so super you want to join. Um, I think their argument is 5G will help them out because people will be walking around with super fast mobiles. And I think they've done a team up in America with T-Mobile, so maybe you see that they might be able to do it where phone firms give it away free. Well, I mean, not give it away free, but they'll allow people to download all the content without using the bandwidth. That might be a selling point. But and I think you can download it to your phone before you leave your house, so you don't have to worry about reception. But I just find the concept of 10-minute clips. I don't know. It might be nice for people going to work just to watch a few clips on the bus or the train or something, but it just feels like you're watching clips. And again, you see, the trouble is that they're now competing with YouTube, and there are people out there who are producing high quality shows for YouTube, very high. And I suspect in time you'll get people investing millions of pounds into YouTube, and they'll just dump it on and they'll allow people to just pirate it because they'll just embed the adverts in it. You see, long term, things like YouTube are good for advertisers if you were to say to them, we'll put an advert, say product placement in the film, because basically that could be on there for 20, 50, maybe 100, maybe 1,000, maybe 1,000,000 years. So maybe even 1,000,000 years' time, people are watching these films. You see, that's why a lot of people are shooting in 4K and higher, because even though not everyone's got 4K TV or whatever, in the future they will have. So the idea is that the footage could be re-edited for future, for 20 years time or 50 years time or whatever. Obviously it won't be 50. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this catches on. But I think they're going to have a problem. I don't see them. I don't know what the numbers would be, viewers wise, to cover the costs, because I think I might have heard the 1 billion is for the content for the first year. I don't know. I mean, I presume not one, but they'll need money for marketing and stuff. But I mean, their own YouTube channel to promote it. I think the videos have only gone on the last couple of days. I had a look, and even those when I went on yesterday, the day before, they had only got a few hundred. They might be on the million by today. I don't know. But it'll be interesting. But they weren't the most exciting clips. I mean, they do have a few film stars, but as I say, if you wave £1 billion in front of anyone, they'll all come on the board. I mean, it's money. You see, that a lot of people will want to make content for them because they'll see it as money up front rather than putting it on YouTube where they might not make the money, or if they do it's over a long time. But like I said, this is going to be an interesting thing to see how it develops, because it doesn't feel like it's going to succeed. And I hope it does, because I sort of like the idea, but I think, like I said, that twisting the phone round, I'm not sure. To me, it's a bit like, it's more of a gimmick that I think people just get bored of within like a minute or two. And it seems a bit, I think it's more, to me, they've overcomplicated the system. I mean, on one, there's a pitch, and I think they've got their own camera. I'm not sure. It looks like there's you can you can purchase, or they give you a camera, which is designed to have. It looks like it's designed to film lots of footage, so that I don't know. I don't know how it works. It's supposed, but it looks like it's designed for their site. But uh, to be honest, I think this could be a good thing, but they've overcomplicated it, and I think they'll end up having just to simplify it by, like I say, doing it free, um, but with adverts, and then if you want the adverts free option, you pay extra. Because after all, I mean, they do have a problem there because if advertisers want to be on it and everybody pays not to have adverts, well, the adverts then become redundant, and then so what's the point of advertising on the site? And also, if they've only got so many members, is it still worth advertising with them? But like I say, I'm not sure what the numbers are before it makes a profit. I mean, obviously, some sites take years to build up. I mean, I think Netflix spends a fortune. I'm not sure if they've even made a profit. I think I read that they're still ploughing money in the content. And I think their idea is just to, in the long term, people stick to it and it starts making a profit. But people talk about Netflix, you see, they talk about the TV shows on there and the programs, and it'll be interesting if people do the same with this site. I mean, it's not, though, even the website domain names I don't think are particularly exciting. It doesn't really. I think it's supposed to quick flicks or something. I can't remember. It's something weird like that. Quick shots. I don't know. It's sort of. I mean, that's the trouble. But I say, I think they're making a mistake by charging people for everything, because in today's world, it's a bit like YouTube. It's free. I mean, and they do an upgrade offer where you can pay to not have the adverts on. I mean, the adverts on YouTube drive me nuts, but I'm not sure I'd want to pay to join, because I don't think the content, it's a lot of it's okay to watch. I mean, to be honest, YouTube's still better than the BBC now. I mean, I haven't watched the BBC for ages. Well, I did one show and it was horrible. And every time I see reviews, the BBC seems to suck. I mean, the Doctor Who thing seems to be dreadful for ratings. I mean, I used to be a huge Doctor Who fan when I was a kid. I haven't watched. It's just bleh. I mean, honestly, it just bleh, bland, blur. I mean, that seems to be the BBC. Bland, bland, bland corporation. Bland, bland, bland. Have I done too many B's there? BBC. Bland, bland corporation. But yeah, I just thought I'd do a review before this thing launches, and let's just see how it develops. I hope it does go well. I mean, it'd be interesting, but it just it seems they've got an idea, but I think they've overcomplicated it. I think they've tried to make it more complicated than they need to. Like I say, I think limited to 10 minutes isn't going to be the best option. I mean, the idea is that instead of one film, I think they're splitting up into sections. Well, and you get each week. Well, in these days, people want it in one go. It might keep. I mean, obviously that keeps them people on, rebilling a few more months, because if you got to wait a few months to see the whole lot, then yeah, you stay on. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, like I say, I think if it was me, I'd keep the file smaller by just keeping it so that you can only view it one way, which I think people would be happy to. I don't think people are too bothered about having it both ways. I think it's easier on the eye when you have it sort of the long ways, the traditional TV way. It always feels, I think to me, it look a bit amateurish when it's the what do you call it, portrait mode, is it? I'm not sure. I'd feel that you pay for something quality, but it might be. I mean, the advantage they've got is they're doing news and daily shows, and that's again. You see, this is why I think they're silly to do it as as a pay thing, because I think when you've got normal TV stations putting this out free, the type of programs. I mean, talk shows. I think even in America are free on most channels, um, and they could make a ton of money just from the advertising alone. Obviously, it costs some money to push it down the bandwidth and stuff, but I'd have thought if it was me personally, if I was putting out a daily show, that isn't that expensive to do. I mean, obviously, you know, if you set it up right, you don't need an audience there. You just need a small studio, and I mean a small studio, and you can just do it with a few interesting guests. They'll probably come on and do it free anyway because they'll be wanting to flog some latest DVD or whatever film they're in. Or even if you do pay them, it'll be peanuts, I'd have thought. It'll be peanuts next to what you could make in advertising, let's put it that way. Because you could easily run an hour talk show and keep putting adverts on every 10 minutes like they do in America at the moment. In fact, I think they do in England on the, like ITV. You do it correct, you can quite easily, even somebody who's got, you don't need the top of the range presenter, as long as you've got someone who can do it. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Like I say, I think they'll struggle if they expect people to pay from the go off, and I think they might have. See, the problem is if you launch it and people don't join because they have to pay and they don't know what's on there, all you then have in the press is bad publicity, and you'll be putting out content, especially if they're going to do daily shows where very few people are going to watch them. So you're going to be spending an absolute fortune with very few viewers, and in reality, you need to be pumping out. Yeah, and I don't know if it's live, if you can watch pre-recorded, because obviously if you're at work, I mean, if they're saying it's between 7 and 7, I think they said that. Well, that means people going to work and coming home might not see it. By the time they get home and sit in front and watch it, it might not be on there. So I presume they'd have to do it pre-recorded. I mean, there are some novelty factors. I think they're planning on doing some horror films or horror clips, and it'll only go on after dark. Yeah, that might be all right, but I think again people might want it any time. It's no, I mean it'll be interesting. I think Spielberg's they've signed up if I read correctly. I mean it might just be worth it just for him. I mean it's for his stuff. I mean it, but you see, to me, they might have been better off just doing a Steven Spielberg only app or thing, because it'd be worth it. You'd probably get more interest just for him alone, bizarrely, rather than lots of other people putting content on there. Because except for that silly sci-fi thing with the where they had Tom Cruise in, which I wasn't very impressed by. I mean, most of the stuff he puts out is worth watching over and over and over. I mean, most of my favourite films are Spielberg's. So even if he did and again, you say, oh, can he do a 10-minute thing? I mean, I think a Spielberg thing, even an hour watch it, they fly by. I mean, it's almost like there's the titles and it'd be finished. I'm not sure even Spielberg could do something in 10 minutes that's worth just, if it would fly by too much. I'd rather watch something at least half an hour from Spielberg. But let's see how it goes. I mean, the problem is, you see, after a year, if they have spent $1 billion in the first year, what do they do in the second year? Because then they're relying on advertisers and what do you call it, subscriptions. And if you don't have many people joined up, both aren't going to bring in a lot of cash. And if it's not bringing in a lot of cash, it means you're going to have less content. And they seem to be pushing the live or daily shows, such as news and talk shows, rather than stuff that lasts years. I mean, that could be another mistake they've got, because Netflix, they could almost quit putting new content up, or just just keep putting old shows on or something. They don't, and people would still pay. The trouble is when you've got something daily, it's sort of after 24 hours, it's out of date. But anyway, we'll see. It'll be an interesting one. Let me just check what the name. As I say, I'm just going back because I'm reading it off my phone. Let's just see what it is. So it's Quibi. It sounds like a game. I've got a feeling they might change the name of it actually in time, because I think they probably thought that's quite a good name, but Quibi, it might take off. As a name. Maybe in a few years we'll all be going Quibi, Quibi, Quibi. But I'm not sure. Is it Quibi? I mean, it does just sound like Blackgammon game or something. It's got that sort of net. It sounds more like a game more than anything. If I went in, Quibi, it does. I can't remember what. I don't know. It just has it just to me sounds more like a board game. Quibble. Anyway. Alright then.